Ladies and gentlemen, I am Chernobyl, and this is S.T.A.L.K.E.R Lost Alpha we're going to be taking a look at. We're going to see how it plays, what it's like, and just how it works. Before we get into the game itself, I want to talk about the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise, because it has a long and quite complicated story. The original S.T.A.L.K.E.R, called Shadow of Chernobyl, was released in 2007, I believe. And it had some issues during its creation because it was originally conceived as a game called S.T.A.L.K.E.R Oblivion Lost. Now, Oblivion Lost was meant to be far more than it ended up being. It was designed to be co-op, vehicles, large open expanses, highly complicated AI systems, and a wide encompassing world, all the things that developers really want their games to be. During development, it was cut down and eventually sort of rebranded into Shadow of Chernobyl. It had a bit of a troubled launch because it was an incredible game, but it was also quite buggy and had a lot of translation errors for the Western markets. And of course, it was missing a lot of features. Some of these features had parts within the game that hadn't been quite closed off, so occasionally you ran into some slightly weird bugs in the game. QA was not quite good enough on it, unfortunately. But it came out to great success and was probably one of the best games released that year. It only got better with mods, of course. In 2008, GSC Game World, who are the developers of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise, released a prequel called Clear Sky, which did not do quite as well. It suffered from a lot of issues with relation to new features that GSC had attempted to introduce, most prominent of which was the faction systems, the faction war system, which was designed to give a feeling that occasionally all-out war erupted between factions, scientists, stalkers, military, bandits. These wars were meant to eventually provide one faction with control of an area, but it was not very well implemented and was very easily exploited. The battles themselves were very easy, and it didn't feel like the living system that it was supposed to be. It was in general quite a failure, and Clear Sky is, due to a number of other issues which weren't resolved from Shadow of Chernobyl, and was brought into Clear Sky, it is probably considered the worst of the three games of the genre. On the topic of the third game, Call of Pripyat, this was released in 2010, so it's not quite as old as Clear Sky and Shadow of Chernobyl. And it is widely regarded as the best S.T.A.L.K.E.R game. It took a bunch of the systems from Clear Sky and implemented them in a far better way. A lot of the bugs were finally ironed out, a lot of the issues were removed. Voice acting was in general better. The story, in my opinion, is not as good as the Shadow of Chernobyl story, but it is still a very good story, far superior to Clear Sky. In general, anyone starting the S.T.A.L.K.E.R franchise should start with Call of Pripyat because it is frankly the best game in the series. S.T.A.L.K.E.R was always very moddable. Indeed, it was one of those games that was created where a lot of the configuration are hidden within text files. So weapon statistics, gravity, conversations, NPC names, all of these things were exceedingly easy to alter. And it made rebalancing the game and creating new mods quite easy for a lot of people. Even I dabbled in it, and I suck at stuff like that. The main mods that were created, the one that most people will have heard of, is called Complete, S.T.A.L.K.E.R Complete. And it is a series of mods, there's one for each game, and it basically aims to create the game, to make the game what it should have been. It adds new features, new systems, rebalances all the weapons and equipment, new dialogue, new NPCs, items, weapons. It is a complete mod, hence the name. Increases graphics, so forth. Other mods that were created include Misery for Call of Pripyat, which is an exceedingly difficult mod, and the Oblivion Lost mod for Shadow of Chernobyl, which introduced some very interesting ideas which could completely screw up your game if random decided to be random. Which, if you completed the game a couple of times, you know that's just entertaining. However, at some point, a bunch of people looked at Shadow of Chernobyl and said, you know what? This is not as good as it could be, even with mods. We want to make our own. So they made a game called S.T.A.L.K.E.R Lost Alpha. Now, S.T.A.L.K.E.R Lost Alpha was forcibly released, so to speak. It was leaked from the development team prior to when it should. And as such, they were forced to simply release it in its current state. This means that installation is complicated, it is convoluted, it is difficult, the game is unstable, it is unoptimized. You can't, for example, change your keybinds because the game will crash. There are a number of issues with this version. And hopefully they will continue developing it and continue to improve it. But we're going to jump in and we're going to see how this very, very interesting standalone mod / game actually runs. So in order to do that, I will set up a new one and I will see you in game.
Through the bleak darkness of a storm, lightning bolts occasionally show the way. If the storm are the Reaper's robes, the lightnings are its sky. A driverless truck races down a road it had taken many times before, bringing back dead bodies of stalkers, for whom the zone has lost its patience. A sudden flash of light hits the truck. The journey of the dead will end here. A running man approaches the wreckage. He knows about these death trucks. Slows down, and eventually stands there for a moment. He'd never gotten completely used to seeing death, no matter how many times he had seen it before. He checks the bodies. First one, then a second, then a third. Then suddenly one of the bodies stirs, emitting a groan, opening its eyes to reveal a blank and empty gaze, clearly refusing to leave where the majority already went.
This one seems to be alive. What a lucky guy. At least death would have saved you from the dreams. Let's go and see what value Toad put on your head.
The stranger picks up the body, throws him across his shoulder, and takes him to the local dealer.
And we're in game. Pardon for all the graphical glitches. Don't know if I mentioned this, but this game was forcibly released very, very early in development because of a leak, which is exceedingly unfortunate. As you saw in the intro video, there was a lot of glitching, a lot of artifacting, bad sound. Ooh, scary. Which is a little unfortunate. Not much I can do about it. As you can see, the game is a little dated. Not the best. More curious. This is DX9. It is not the DirectX 10 or 11. The reason for that is, for some reason, the recording simply stops working if you use DirectX 10 renderer. I don't know what that is. It is likely some incompatibility between the systems. With luck, there will be a fix for it at some point. Let's head upstairs. See what the dealer has to say.
My head is still spinning. Where am I? Who are you?
You are in my bunker. I am Sidorovich, the local trader. 3 days ago, a death truck was hit by lightning and we found you at the wreckage. Everyone was dead except you, so we brought you here.
I don't remember anything. What is this death truck thing? How was I the only survivor?
Whoa, slow down, man. First, I helped you stay alive. Now it's time for business. I have a couple of missions for you. When you are done, we will call it quits. It will also be a good test to see how much you remember after your amnesia. I will ask around about S.T.A.L.K.E.R. It's your business what you want with him. If you want to kill him, I guess you have your reasons.
So as you can see, the graphics are not great. At this point, the game is quite old. Do you say Mark the One? At this moment in time, you seem like my best or only hope of finding this S.T.A.L.K.E.R guy. Yeah. We don't need to learn about this game. So we're gonna go get our equipment. Take your equipment from the dresser. Yeah. Search the box. Crappy armor. And some binoculars. What should I call that? A flashlight? I'm just gonna turn off this range thing because that's a little annoying. Flashlight's out of distance. Off. Much better.
S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
Hello, boss. There instead of grabbing it. Take all. That's more like it.
S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
I'm losing some frames here, which is
Good hunting, S.T.A.L.K.E.R.
Yeah, you too, boss. See how it runs outside. Horribly. That's the answer. I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're running at a pretty decent frame rate. I've had to turn the graphics down a notch, as you can probably tell. Game is incredibly poorly optimized, it seems. Let's go see what's going on over here. S.T.A.L.K.E.R was always one of those unusual games where exploration was very much rewarded and you never quite knew what to expect because of the semi-intelligent AI system that the game's stalkers, as well as random animal life forms, actually possessed. So you never knew quite when to expect various things. Hello, Gosha Yevtushenko. Is there anything interesting? No? Well, let's see you.
Чего погрустнели-то?
What on earth? That looks horrifying. I can't get past them. That's unfortunate. So there's not much going on here, it seems. Now, this is all very new to me because I have not actually played Lost Alpha previously. So let's see what is new in here in the starting zone. Hey guys. Funny story. When I was a rookie, I went exploring in an old house not far away from here. Interesting. You can get a guitar. You have no money, that's a little difficult. I'm guessing this is a trailer that'll get unlocked then. I am Wolf. Wolf. An old master from the original game. Protects this sort of beginner's village. Exclusion zones cordon. It's a long climb to the top. We'll keep that in mind. So apparently no missions for us just yet. Some used food. Basements. We're going to be doing some exploring. Oh, food and vodka, useful. Now, S.T.A.L.K.E.R does have a food and drink system. It's exceedingly primitive, but it does the job. You basically want vodka to clear radiation. You want food and drinks to keep yourself hydrated. So we're just going to see if we can. I'm trying to get over here because there used to be a secret in here. You can get in and get some free stuff. Oh, I haven't fixed it? No, fantastic. Anything worthwhile? Doesn't actually look like it. Looks like they cleared that out. Interesting. There's some, there's something to drink though. Pardon me, it's loud. I will probably have to fix that. Hang on. Cut the volume down a bit. Now these I don't rightly know what are. I'd imagine they are new anomalies or redesigned anomalies. So we're just gonna stay the hell away from them. You don't really want to walk around with a weapon in here because stalkers don't take too kindly to being threatened with knives and guns. Oh wow. Somebody could not take the pressure. That's never another way out. Silly. You. It's everywhere. Oh. Can we get out through here? Yeah, we can. When I mentioned exploration, I wasn't kidding. Now I don't know how prevalent it is in this game, in this edition of Stalker, so to speak. But in the original, exploring and climbing on houses and crap was actually a part of the gameplay that allowed you to find a lot better stuff than you would normally be able to.
А колбасу и батоны нынче хреновые делать стали.
I'm not gonna fuck with the areas with anomalies in them just yet. You kinda need a better suit for that. This is a beautiful game. It really is. I've done a lot with the engine, it seems. The map is a lot more alive now. A lot more stuff. It's less... There's no sparse. Sparse is a good word for it. There wasn't a lot of stuff in terms of bushes and grass and so on in the original Shadow of Chernobyl. This looks to be almost completely encased in just bushes and random shit. Let's just see, F6 should be quick save, yeah. So all we have right now is a handgun with a little bit of ammo. So he's gonna head straight for the objective.
Be extremely careful near anomalies. As soon as you hear the detector beeping, grab the bolts and toss them in front of you. Now go get me that artifact.
Well, that's 6. So should be good to go here. Pick this up. And then we follow the same route out of here. I hear some stuff going on in that direction. But again, we are not really equipped for anything, so we're just gonna head straight back to base. Have a word with our good friend, the traitor. One of the interesting things about S.T.A.L.K.E.R is the way the game world interacts with the player. A good example is actually an old friend of mine, Vixie, who likes to run a smuggling ring. Essentially finding and providing high-end weapons for the starting stalkers here. Because when you sell them your guns, they will actually equip it, but only if they have ammo. This then makes them far more effective in combat, since an assault rifle will generally beat a sawed-off shotgun in this game. And this way, with improved armor and weapons, you can basically turn this into an invincible camp. This is possible in all sorts of different ways and leads to some very unique opportunities in this game. Let's see what Sidorovich
Back already?
say. Military dogs would be great for the... He's not actually mean dog, he means military soldiers, so... Really need the flash drive. I scratch your back. $7,000. So really
Good
enough to
hunting,
get anything.
Stalker.
We'll take a look at what else we have to offer. There's a helicopter over there. Now, in the original game, helicopters weren't really a threat. You never really saw them, except for a few very specific circumstances. Well, no, that's different here. I don't know. It's possible. We definitely want to be careful around them, that's for sure. So let's find the way out. As you can see, there's a bit of a road up here. Does not appear like the usual pathway is there, though. That's going to make finding this place a little tricky. Just follow the road, see where it takes us. I can sort of hear clicking sounds from down there, which I like these things. Sort of mutated pigs, I suppose. Generally not the most dangerous, but if they attack you in numbers, they can really do a number on you. A lot of people here, or skeletons. Not people so far. Nothing worth looting though. So let's keep moving. Let's see. Where's this guy? You are looking too hot, little there, buddy. Misha Silaf. You have some money, you have a flash drive, and something to drink. An energy drink, in fact, which helps you boost if you've been running for a while. Instant refresh of stamina. Now, so far this is very similar to the regular game. A little bit more overgrown. More going on here. Ooh, we've got people coming in here. Better be ready. Who are you people?
Так, музыкальная пауза.
Joseph Ingram. Are any of you guys named anything? Nope. So this is what I was talking about when I said sort of semi-intelligent characters. These stalkers, when they spawn, they'll usually spawn in groups, and they'll just sort of wander around. Sometimes they'll run into military soldiers, or bandits, or bloodsuckers. And in these situations, they will engage in combat. They will actually fight with each other and die. So you can very easily just sort of play the game, find a group like this, next time you turn there, they're all dead.
Эх, и здорово, что у тебя выходит, а? Завязывай,
I'll
ладно.
take away our gun, because they're not too fond of it. I've got shotgun rifle. He's actually got an SMG. But he is not willing to trade it, so we're just gonna head back to base here. Follow the road. Now I'm on Sniffly's day, so apologies for that. Yeah, S.T.A.L.K.E.R was always a bit of an oddball in terms of what it could do, because it promised these incredible vistas and incredibly sophisticated AIs. And it didn't deliver, because they're not really incredible, but it was leaps and bounds beyond anything that you had ever seen at that time. The sort of natural evolution. A stalker could very easily spawn as a rookie, but could potentially end up heading to the end game areas of the game and actually participate in those fights just by random chance, which wasn't something that you'd seen a hell of a lot of previously. Certainly not in a first-person shooter game. So we're gonna head back down to Sidorovich. Say hello.
What have you got in there?
Contact is dead, but here's the flash drive. Second guy is probably in a factory above the hills. You've at least seen it in the distance, I'm sure. It's probably what I was looking at while talking over by the corpse. He's crawling with bandits, so he's dead by now, but in his belongings, as well as the place cleared of bandits. Talk with Wolf, you might be able to spare a few men. Okay. Can you buy anything? I think it was like 9,000 or something. I do have a shotgun, but I don't have any ammo for it. That's kind of stupid.
Good hunting, Stalker.
Alright, so this is sort of going to be the first episode. You can sort of see what the game is about. Next up I'm going to be showing you a little bit more about the open world nature of this game. Because it is very open world and you can pretty much do whatever you want. So I'm going to be running a few missions and doing some basic stuff, and then I will be back with some more information about this wonderful little mod. It's standalone. It's S.T.A.L.K.E.R in a nutshell. It's kind of funny. And it is, best of all, free. ModDB, a website with lots of mods, unsurprisingly. Michalkov says, a drunken stalker staggers into a Catholic church, enters a confessional booth, sits down, but says nothing. The priest coughs a few times to get his attention, and then this disappears. That's not good. Can we get... oh, a message just read. The priest coughs a few times to get his attention, but the stalker continues to sit there. Finally, the priest pounds 3 times on the wall. Stalker mumbles, ain't no use knocking. There's no paper on this side either. Michalkov, you are a horrible man. Guys, go download this on ModDB. Install instructions to there as well. Enjoy it. I'll see you next time.